Kendall can't stop acting silly since he never learned how to run the company, even though he and his brother may have cheated their way to the top. The words of his father still ring true: "I love you." You, however, lack seriousness. Wall Street is aware of this. The best Kendall can do, especially now that he shares the role of temporary CEO with his brother, is to appear to be playing for position and eager to plot and cause trouble. Kendall queries, what does it look like if we say no, when Lucas Madsen summons the entire staff to a corporate retreat in Norway for a negotiation. Shiv questions Kendall about the strange increase in stories about their father being burned. Kendall replies that they are death wrestling with ogres. Kendall had covertly commissioned the articles through Hugo in yet another ridiculous power play. "You're reading documents," she plainly deadpans. The truth is that they have been given the incredibly meager task of carrying out the sale to Madsen that their father negotiated, and even then, the old guard is overly concerned with making sure they don't mess it up. Although the chances of a clueless wannabe big shot succeeding in the future are small, Kendall, being Kendall, wants to remain in command. What does it even matter whether he makes a big sale? He informs Madsen that he is already wealthy. Similar to Season 2's Turnhaven, in which the Roys spend the weekend at the Pierce estate. Kill List is a delightfully gruesome little episode that gets plenty of comedy mileage out of the clash between corporate cultures. The Waster bunch is constantly made to appear like the Beverly Hillbillies in comparison to their more educated and affluent colleagues. It is typical fish out of water material. Hugo receives jeers for piling food on his plate at the Swedish buffet. Greg reveals himself to be yet another dim member of the Roy family, while Tom tries to bluff his way through a discussion about the future of France, which causes Madsen and his entire staff to yick it up in Swedish. Eventually, Kendall says, maybe it's funnier with subtitles. The fact is that Madsen has a significant home field advantage because they invited these yokels to travel to Viking territory 2 days after their boss passed away and the stock of the company has plummeted. Logan Roy's body is a little bit cooler this time, which is the primary distinction between Kill List and Turnhaven, despite the similarities. Even though it has been 2 episodes since he passed away while trying to jump through more hoops for Madsen, only 2 days have gone on the show. The body won't find its last resting place until the conclusion if things continue as they are. Who knows how it will appear when it gets there? The idea is sparked by Marcia's desire to dress Logan in a kilt and Connor's need to have complete authority over the choice of their father's appearance. Although his brothers haven't had much time to process their complicated thoughts about the guy who ruled their lives, Connor is at least where you'd expect a son who just lost his father to be. It is still possible to grieve a monster. Kill List is yet another episode for the Kieran Culkin Emmy file. Roman has the most trouble separating his feelings from Logan's death, but it's not necessarily a competition to see who is the most damaged by it. He was the last person to believe that his father had passed away in the first place. He had to go out to the runway to verify. He is strangely quiet on the flight to Norway, and his propensity for spicy one-liners plummets just as sharply as Waystar's stock price. When Connor texts him an inappropriate photo of his father seeking approval on the way to his and Kendall's final meeting with Madsen on a mountainside, it sets the tone for an outburst of anguish and rage that is one of Culkin's rawest moments on the show. Roman has had enough of being the jerk who flirts with the Swede. He now views Madsen as the inhuman dog that caused stress to kill his father by delaying the sale for months and making them leave 2 days after his death. Making deals is not it. It is sadistic. But Shiv also gets a surprising chance to shine in this episode. She is clearly an afterthought to the Sea Bros running the business, but she establishes her value in the background. Shiv receives a private session with Madsen, where she can be the woman who can take a joke, while guiding him on a road through truly reprehensible executive misbehavior, similar to when she was required to front-face a corporation beset by a sexual assault issue. Madsen admits to being in a bit of a pickle about his illicit relationship with Eva. Gojo's take on the super-talented Carolina, which involves mailing her half-liters of his own frozen blood. A striking assessment of Shiv's PR situation comes from a man who has been there, done that. If you're the creepy stalker guy who sits in the dark writing code and dripping into an IV bag and harassing your direct reports, it's going to have an economic impact. Perspective line of the evening. Deniability is difficult given she has so much of your blood. Shiv ultimately joins in on her brother's humiliation as a collaborator. She is rightfully angry that Kendall and Roman cut her off from their sibling partnership just as they were ready to seize control of the business, and she feels degraded by her position as Advise and Leah's. The brothers should celebrate when Matsson makes a sizable bid to buy all of Waystar, including ATM. Carl appears poised to soar to the heavens with his golden parachute. However, the entire trip to Norway was the Swedes' way of reminding the brothers that they had no bearing on the deal. Even though Roman can tell Matsson that he despises him, the offer reaches Frank and everyone else on the plane. Shiv is asked by Matsson to secretly take a photo of her brothers. Even if their names are not on the preliminary kill list that will destroy Waystar's executive offices, they are effectively already dead. Funny conversation on the plane as Jerry tries to reassure the troops that they have the advantage over the Gojo folks. They are youthful and in good shape, she concedes. However, they are European. They are tender. Hemlocked in their social security safety nets with free healthcare and ill on holiday madness. They may believe themselves to be Vikings, but we were exposed to a disease known as Logan Roy and bred by wolves. Hugo responds admirably by saying, "We're snakes on the plane." The Gojo athlete who blew it at the Winter Olympics was the subject of more Hugo brilliance in his small talk. "They tell me you almost got a bronze at Sochi. Man, that almost seems large. How about those annoying tenths of a second?" In order to relate to the Roy brothers, Matsson tells them about how his father passed away and says, "At least you didn't find it yourself." BMW is still active. Trauma can result from that crap. Greg conducting some investigation on Matsson's sex transgressions for Tom, pretty cold. He wears noise-canceling headphones when banging randos. Podcasts. He simply reclines with his cans on and observes them moving the beanpole. Frank and Carl have evolved into the succession Stapler and Waldorf. Carl quips, "Poor bastards," as everyone else enjoys a dismal sonnet in a fishbowl, like a peking duck hanging in the window. The question majestic stags sparring with their memory foam hard-ons. The writers of this show are hilarious and might also be lyricists from Pavement. Shiv appears to have helped Tom rejoin the group, as many have predicted. She concludes the episode by joking that she'll oust Sai for supporting the Mencken campaign and sincerely inviting him to dinner when they return. And this all happened after he compared her thick, chewy earlobes to barnacle meat.